Hello, so as promised, I'm going to do an initial sort of review on this Tauchmeister dive watch. These are ones where, if you look on watch forums, which is something I don't really tend to do if I'm interested in a watch, I just generally, look up reviews from normal people. It's one of those watches that seems to be hated by watch snobs, but a lot of people say I bought one that lasted years, I liked it. So, in theory, this is a German dive watch that's rated to 1,000 meters, but apparently some of the components are made in China or they're assembled in China and they may not be as good as they claim, but most of the sites selling them still offer the full guarantees, which does make me think they are going to be as good as they claim, because otherwise people can, essentially break them and get a refund. So anyway, I've had this for a couple of weeks now and I've had no issues with it. It keeps time very well. It's very easy to read. I'm going to demonstrate the lume to you in this video as well. I'm actually using my phone camera for this one because it makes it much easier to show things with it up close. So it's got a 31-day date on it. You can set the date independently of setting the watch, which is nice compared to a Vostok Amphibia. So it's much faster to set the date on this one. There's the crown there in the sort of, 4 o'clock position, I guess. And that's actually quite a convenient place, the crown. It has two settings on the crown. You pop it out once to wind it, pop it out. Well, essentially you unscrew it to wind it, then you pop it out once or twice to set the time or set the date. So you've got these bright sort of orange, fluorescent orange sort of, or pink watch hands with it, and then it's got green lume on the bits. So what I'll do now is I'll take it off, and as you can see, it's a very thick case. And what I'll do is show you the lume on it. Okay, so I've got my UV flashlight sitting on top of the watch. Let's pull that up. And hopefully you can see there that you get basically fluorescent orange sort of, when it's under UV you see it as fluorescent orange and green. When you take that away you obviously get the really good green sort of luminescent glow. And of course my camera keeps wanting to see the ceiling glow on that. So yeah, there you go. As you can see, a pretty smooth dual movement on the actual second hand. See if I can get that to refocus on there. It's got that cool sort of deep sea diver look on the sort of crown, if I can, there we go, on the sort of watch face. So the crown on this, for anybody wondering, it's a one-way bezel. So how it works is you basically can't turn it to the right, you can turn it to the left. And it's just typical one. You can knock it by accident, but it doesn't move too much by accident, so I'm quite sort of happy with it. It does what I want in a bezel. I can time lunch breaks or whatever on it. I've restrapped it. It came with two straps out of the packet. It came with, it's a 22mm lug, by the way. It came with a Milanese steel type one like this, but it wasn't very adjustable. You could only adjust it by about 1 inch, so it does not fit my wrist at all. It's far too big. And it came with a fairly decent rubber strap that didn't set my eczema off. And that could be adjusted to small wrist to wide wrist, so that was a good strap. But unfortunately, as said, the Milanese sort of steel strap they sort of gave you, you couldn't adjust it. It seemed stupidly big. But there you go. So far I'm pleased with this, and I was asked if I could actually get a video out on it. I did want to give it a week or two in case it just magically broke. It's been used underwater, not deep underwater, but in sinks of harsh chemicals and things like that, and nothing's gone wrong with it. You can see there's a bit of scratching already to the watch face, but again, if I got a sort of alcohol wipe and gave that a wipe, most of that would go actually. There's not really any proper scratches on it. You can see it's pretty reflective if the camera's at the wrong angle. So yeah, overall I really like it. The lume does last quite a few hours in the dark. So as in, if you shine it under a UV light, turn the lights off, you get at least 5 to 6 hours, I'd say, of readable lume on this watch. Not actually sure what this secondary bezel does, because I can't seem to see a purpose in it, but there weren't really any instructions of this. It was dispatched from Germany, but obviously anything can be made in China and then shipped to Germany to then ship anywhere else. And the RRP on these, I think, is about £120 to £150. So if you're looking for something a bit like an Orient Maker or something like that in that price range, it seems perfectly good at that. Timekeeping seems very good. It keeps time better than my Vostok. I know that's not saying a lot, but lots of people like Vostok Amphibias who get snobby about other watches. And considering a lot of Vostok Amphibias now on the sort of surplus market are getting closer to €100 or £100, it's not too much of a jump to go to something much better like this. Only thing I've said is the case is very thick on this, which some people don't like. I do personally like that, but again, that's not an issue for me. So there you go. The lume's good on this. I'm just going to show you the lume as well in the actual proper dark, so you can see what it looks like there, and then I'll wrap up the video. But yeah, this isn't a super in detailed, obviously, review, but as I've said, I've had this for a couple of weeks and it's still working fine. So that certainly gets rid of the people saying, oh no, it's like got no, water resistance whatsoever. It's essentially just a fashion watch that pretends to be a dive watch. And it does seem to be a legit dive watch. Again, you'd need to find a proper channel with like a pressure tester sort of thing to actually see what the depth these really can go to is. I'd assume, looking at how big the case is, though, it would, survive fairly deep. So there you go, that's the really cool look it has when you've got an active UV light on it in the dark. So obviously the bezel has a little UV thing there. It's not tritium, it's just like a little UV painted thing. And then you've got your, UV on all the other bits. So as you can see, that's a really, really sort of bright, considering how well this phone camera is picking it up in the dark. That's a really good thing. Only weird thing is obviously the second hand is actually opposite of where that little turning bit is. Because this is one of those weird ones where rather than putting the lume on the end of the second hand, they've done it on the opposite side to the end of the second hand. So that looks like it's going to 12 now, it's actually going to 30 seconds. You can actually obviously see when that second hand passes over the things there. As you can see, the lume is really impressive on this because a phone camera can see it perfectly well in a dark room. So yeah, to give you an idea, can you see my hand in front of the camera? No. Can you see the watch lume? Yeah. If I look at my phone, it's not my phone, sorry. If I look at my alarm clock light, that's that bright. Look at this again. This shows up perfectly. So this is a very readable lume in the dark. One of the best lumes I've actually seen on a dive watch. Much better than my Orient, and obviously much better than my Vostok. I know that's not saying a lot, but, the Orient Mako did cost more than this, if I remember right. So,